Many small and mid-sized companies do not know how to build a brand that is different from their competitors. And it is a difficult task, especially if you do not know what actually drives your customers' brand perception. In this video, we will talk about the 3 drivers of brand perception and how you can leverage them to become the one for your customers. Welcome to Baselift and the brand awareness check, how to leverage the 3 drivers of brand perception. When we fall in love or want someone to fall in love with us, we usually pay a lot of attention into how we look, how we talk, and how we behave. We naturally understand that we need to be perceived as somewhat special by the person we want to feel more connected to us than to anyone else. To win the person of our interest, we almost automatically dress thoughtfully. We choose our words carefully and we do special things we wouldn't just do for everybody. Most interestingly, we do all of this consistently, as we know that one-time efforts do not win someone's heart. Ultimately, most relationships fail because someone stops delivering on one or more of these factors. We stop caring about our appearance, or our communication becomes careless, or our actions do not match our promises. As a result, the connection weakens and trust and appreciation erodes, opening the door for many potential other partners that might do better. We all know that. We have all been there. But here's the thing. While these connections are completely obvious to us in our personal relationships, we often struggle to understand that the same rules apply to the relationship between a company and its customers. The initial connection is created through how a company looks, how it talks, and how it behaves. And even though business-customer relationships are transactional in nature, or perhaps specifically because of that, they, like romantic relationships, do not even come about if customers do not perceive any particular performance in one of these areas. If a company appears, communicates, or behaves either random or like any other company, customers may find a way to take advantage, but they won't adequately value what they get. They won't stick around, and they certainly won't tell their friends about it. If a company actually manages to create a connection with the customer, they can still fail if there are inconsistencies among these areas. For example, when your website looks professional, but your customer onboarding is kind of chaotic, too lighthearted, or easy breezy. When your social media voice does not match how your sales team actually talks to prospects. Or when you promise high-quality solutions but cut corners on delivery. These inconsistencies don't just confuse customers. They break the feeling of having a perfect fit, opening the door for potential other providers that might do better. Building and maintaining this perfect fit feeling inside customers is an essential everyday task of every business. The key to achieving this, broadly speaking, is to understand that your ideal customer, the love of your company's life, so to speak, does not just want to buy from any company, but a company that looks, communicates, and behaves a certain way. The underlying challenge to this, however, is twofold. For one, a company needs to define to whom they actually want to be the perfect partner for in order to determine what the perfect appearance, communication, and behavior actually is. If you haven't done already, or if you don't know how to define your ideal customer, I recommend watching our video on ideal customer definition. For now, we want to focus on the second part of this challenge, which is ensuring that everything that happens inside a company actually contributes to being perceived as that kind of partner. I'm going to show you a simple approach that any company can use to do just that, to ensure that everything they do is in line with who they want to be for their ideal customers. Marketing legend Seth Godin once brilliantly said, "People like us do things like this, encapsulating the idea that a person's sense of belonging significantly influences his or her actions and decisions. If you identify yourself with a group of people or a community with certain values and behaviors, you will always act in line with that identity. If you consider yourself a light-hearted businessman, you will talk like a light-hearted businessman. If you consider yourself a bon vivant, your living environment or the vacations you choose will show. And if you are a caring mom, you will always make decisions for the benefit of your kids, regardless of the temptations. People like us do things like this means making choices not only based on what you get, but who you are. In a world of abundance where people have plenty of options to choose from, companies can only survive and thrive if they manage to create a sense of belonging in enough people. Except for the cheapest and for those whose quality and performance is measurably and significantly superior, the fate of all companies depends on their customers' sense of belonging. Leveraging the power of belonging, however, requires doing something many companies are afraid to do. It requires taking a stance, taking a clear position in the world that allows people to consciously reject or connect with. It requires a company to say, this is us, this is who we are, and that is why we do things this way. If you are like us, we're the right partner for you. If you're not, you're probably better off somewhere else. If it doesn't, it will find itself disoriented in an ocean of possibilities, just like its customers, who want nothing else more than a stable anchor, something they can rely on, something they can be thankfully loyal to because it is who they are. In other words, they are looking for the right brand. But remember, a brand is not a logo, it's not a slogan. A brand is what people feel and think about a company. If they feel and think the right things, you're the right brand. If they feel and think the wrong things, you're the wrong brand. Branding is the act of creating these thoughts and feelings in a targeted manner. So, what shapes people's thoughts and feelings about a company? Exactly. Its appearance, communication, and what it does. To become the one for the customers, a company must always match these three things to the position it takes in the world. How it looks, how it talks, and what it does must be worthy of the brand, of the thoughts and feelings their customers crave. Tweaking Seth's quote a little bit turns it into a tool that will help you ensure just that. A brand like ours does things like this. A brand like ours does things like this is a discussion starter, as it forces you to think, is that true? Would a brand like ours actually present itself like this? Would it say things like this? Would a brand like ours do things like this? For Baselift, I created a workshop tool around that phrase called the Brand Awareness Check. It assists with making brand-worthy decisions when discussing work results or analyzing the status quo of a company. Both the tool and the phrase can help you ensure that the decisions people make actually reinforce rather than undermine the sense of belonging your most valuable customers have with your brand. Here's a simple 5-step framework to put this into action. Number 1. Internalize that the 3 drivers of brand perception are the same things that people build personal relationships on. A. Visual appearance, how your company looks and presents itself. B. Messaging, what and how your company communicates. And C. Actions, how your company behaves and what it does, including the products and services it provides. Number 2. Internalize that these three factors require constant effort. If you become negligent in even one of those areas, it might cause irreparable damage to the relationship with your customers. Number 3. Internalize that these three factors must work together. They must tell the same story. If appearance, messaging, and actions do not match, mistrust arises. Now, let's get active with number 4. Create a foundational, shareable document including general claims for the 3 drivers. Answer the following questions. How does our company present itself visually? How does our company communicate and what does it say? How does our company behave and what does it do? Then, reverse the perspective and make negative claims for more clarity. How does our company not present itself visually? How does our company not communicate and what does it not say? How does our company not behave and what does it not do? Number 5. Explain these guidelines to everyone in your company and make them accessible. Implement the expectation that everyone in the company has to adhere to these brand claims. Use the document you have created and the phrase, "A brand like ours does things like that," to guide conversations towards more brand-worthy outcomes. When you're reviewing work results or discussing the status quo of your company, let people phrase sentences using the framework, "A brand like ours, such and such." For example, when you're creating a new website, a brand like ours doesn't use flashy animation that distract from our professionalism. A brand like ours doesn't use casual language when writing about serious customer challenges. A brand like ours doesn't let outreaching customers wait longer than an hour for a response. The Brand Awareness Check provides your entire team with a relationship-oriented and brand-driven decision-making framework. If everyone understands how to build, maintain, and strengthen customer relationships through consistent appearance, communication, and actions, chances are high that your company becomes their brand of choice for life. This is Stefan Hermann from Baselift. Thank you for watching. Make something relevant.